US allegedly strikes narco boats. 3 drug smugglers killed in the Caribbean. Vows will continue to hunt and kill. Russia slams excessive use of military. Why is the US building up troops in the Caribbean?
Hello and welcome. You're watching Explained by NewsX. Tonight we turn our attention to a rapidly escalating security story. The growing military buildup of the Caribbean Sea region by the United States and the administration's declared mission of striking at narco-trafficking networks. On your screens, you can see a tweet by US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. He is announcing the killing of 3 people in another US military airstrike on an alleged drug boat in international waters of the Caribbean Sea on the evening of November 1st, 2025. Mr. Hegseth said that the vessel was known by US intelligence to be involved in illicit narcotics smuggling and was transiting along a known narco-trafficking route, carrying narcotics. These events have become a common occurrence, as this is not the first time that US is alleging the narcotics boats trying to infiltrate the United States. This strike that Hegseth hailed marks the 15th strike in the Caribbean and the Eastern Pacific since the US began its military campaign on the 2nd of September, bringing the total number of people killed to 64. In the earlier strike, which was the 14th strike, 4 people were killed on alleged drug boats in the Eastern Pacific by the US military. Previous to this, US forces killed 14 people in strikes on 4 alleged drug boats in the Pacific. By the end of October 2025, the Trump administration had provided more than a dozen Senate Republicans a secret target list for its ongoing military campaign in the Caribbean Sea, suggesting the administration is preparing for sustained operations against drug cartels and that it believed the military strikes could withstand potential legal challenges. Since September 2025, US is not only striking these vessels in the Caribbean but also building up troops in the region. These are in levels not seen in decades now. Well, the US has already deployed some 10,000 troops in that region, including 2 JIMA amphibious ready groups with over 4,500 Marines and sailors. The US has also deployed 3 guided missile destroyers, an attack submarine, a special operations ship, a guided missile cruiser, and a reconnaissance aircraft. The Pentagon also rerouted USS Gerald Ford, the Navy's most modern aircraft carrier, to the Caribbean with about 5,000 personnel aboard. The US has also deployed at least 10 F-35 fighter jets and 3 MQ-9 Reaper drones to Puerto Rico in October. The US military flew a pair of supersonic B-1 Lancer bombers, which can carry more bombs than any other plane in the United States. Well, fleet up to the coast of Venezuela, and all this is happening extremely rapidly. Why is all this happening in the Caribbean, and where does this start is the question. The Caribbean Sea forms a direct maritime corridor between South America, where most cocaine is produced, and North America, where it's consumed, especially the United States. Venezuela is the prime suspect of Trump's government in promoting drugs in the United States. On the 7th of August, the Trump administration doubled the existing bounty on Nicolas Maduro, the left-wing president of Venezuela. The bounty was raised to $50 million for information leading to his capture. The Trump administration accused Mr. Maduro of being one of the largest narco-traffickers in the world. And according to Washington, he heads Cartel de los Solos, or Cartel of the Suns, a Venezuela-based drug cartel that has been designated as a global terrorist organization by the United States. Well, the Trump administration further claimed that Venezuelan President Maduro has links with the Tren Aragua and Sinaloa cartel, both criminal organizations designated as terror groups by Washington. The US Treasury Department had said something similar in July 2025. It said that the Maduro regime facilitated narco-terrorism through terror groups like Cartel de los Sols. Simply, Trump says that the vessels originating from Venezuela or linked to Venezuela organized crime structures have trafficked drugs via the Caribbean into the United States. Let's understand the strategic position of Venezuela, covering a total area of 916,445 square kilometers. Venezuela, located on the northern coast of South America, is the world's 33rd largest country. Venezuela is bordered by Brazil to the south, by Guyana to the east, by Colombia to the west and southwest. It is also bound by the North Atlantic Ocean to the northeast and by the Caribbean Sea to the north. The proximity of Venezuela to Caribbean Sea is the key. The US, along with other nations, does not recognize Maduro as Venezuela's legitimate leader. The 2024 election was widely dismissed as unfair, with opposition tallies showing a landslide victory for their candidate. The drug cartels have deep influence in Venezuela, Colombia, and other countries in the region. The Trump administration has not provided any evidence to substantiate its claim that Mr. Maduro heads the cartel or his government is directly involved in drug production and trafficking. Yet, beyond the drug control narrative, the deployment may serve broader strategic purposes, signaling US resolve in its hemisphere, pressuring regimes like Venezuela, protecting commercial and resource interests, and giving the US new regional military flexibility. The Trump White House wants to focus more on America's backyard, where they have recently stepped up political and economic campaigns against left-wing governments and provided generous economic assistance to Javier Milei's far-right libertarian government in Argentina. Trump officials also believe Mr. Maduro is far weaker today than 5-6 years ago. Accused of rigging the July 2024 election to retain power, he faces a reinvigorated right-wing opposition led by Maria Corina Machado, this year's Nobel Peace Prize laureate, who has openly endorsed Mr. Trump's Venezuela policy of crippling sanctions and military threats. Several close allies of Mr. Trump have already called on Mr. Maduro to quit and flee the country. Venezuela holds significant oil and mineral resources. The Caribbean Guyana Basin is a zone of rising interest. Some analysts argue that the US posture serves to protect US commercial and strategic interests, not just drug interdiction. But Maduro has also replied to Trump's threat of an invasion. He has accused the US of fabricating a new war. Maduro reportedly requested military assistance from Russian President Vladimir Putin, and he has responded affirmatively. Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova confirmed that Moscow is prepared to back Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro amid growing fears of a potential US-led intervention. In sum, under Donald Trump, the mission has acquired a new intensity by treating cartels as terrorists, deploying large-scale naval and marine forces to the Caribbean basin, and conducting lethal strikes on maritime targets. As this story unfolds, key questions will include: how will regional partners respond to this? Will the strikes and deployments adhere to international law? Will Congress or the US public question the cost and wisdom of using covert military forces for what had traditionally been law enforcement missions? The Caribbean is once again becoming a major theater for US strategic focus, and the implications go far beyond boats and drugs.
Narco boat. 3 drug smugglers killed in the Caribbean. Vows will continue to hunt and kill. Russia slams excessive use of military. Why is the US building up troops in the Caribbean?